Okay, so real quick, can we just take a moment to acknowledge something that nobody in your life is apparently saying out loud right now? You did everything right. You saved up, you watched the market, you maybe bought a home, or you've been white-knuckling it waiting for the right moment to buy one, and now you're sitting here in 2026 watching the housing market do things that make absolutely zero sense, feeling confused, maybe a little scared, and honestly, a little gaslit. Like, did the rules change? Did someone forget to send you the memo? Because it genuinely feels like the game shifted overnight and nobody announced it. I want you to know that feeling is valid. That confusion is not you being dramatic. The market is doing something real, something that the people on TV are kind of barely talking about in that careful corporate way where they say a lot of words and somehow tell you nothing, and I'm not here for that. I want to talk to you straight today, because what is happening right now in the 2026 housing market is not a blip. It is not a slow news day, and it is definitely not something you want to scroll past. If you are a homeowner, a buyer, a seller, or just someone who pays rent and watches this stuff because it affects literally every part of your life, this is for you. If this video helps even one person make a smarter decision about their home or their money, then every second making this was worth it. And honestly, if you think more people need to hear this, hit that like button right now, because that's how we get this information out to the people who actually need it. Because here's the thing, Google searches for "can't sell my house" have hit an all-time high in 2026. Not a 3-year high, not a recent high, an all-time high. That's not noise, that's a signal. A flashing neon, "someone please pay attention" signal. And today, we are paying attention, because here is everything you need to know about get out before it's too late. A 2026 housing signal has arrived. Let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about where we even are right now, because I feel like a lot of people are operating on housing market information from like 18 months ago, and that is genuinely dangerous at this point. January 2026. Home sales dropped 8.4% in a single month. That is the largest single-month drop since 2022. And before you go, okay, but that's just seasonal. No. Seasonal dips are normal, sure, but 8.4% in 1 month? That's not the market taking a nap. That's the market tripping over itself on the way to the bathroom at 3 a.m. and just deciding to sleep on the floor. We are talking about existing home sales sitting near a 29-year low, levels we haven't seen since 1995. Think about that for a second. 1995. The internet was barely a thing. People were losing their minds over Toy Story being in theaters, and somehow the housing market in the most technologically advanced, economically powerful nation on Earth is performing like it's dial-up era real estate. Cosmically stupid? A little bit. Wildly unhinged? Absolutely. But it's real, and it's happening right now. And look, I know some of you are sitting there going, okay, but prices are still up, so it can't be that bad, right? And I hear you. Realtor.com is out here forecasting a plus 2.2% price appreciation for 2026. And on paper, that sounds like, okay, fine, not great, not terrible. But here's the thing, those modest little headline numbers, they are masking how genuinely fragile this market is underneath. That plus 2.2% is doing a lot of heavy lifting to make everything seem fine while the structural floor quietly develops cracks. You seeing this too, right? Because the data is right there, and it's giving full, "this is fine, dog," sitting in a burning room with a coffee mug energy. The mug says, "Home sweet home." Now let's talk about the thing that is quietly strangling every single housing recovery attempt before it even gets started, and that is mortgage rates. Specifically, the 30-year fixed rate and its absolutely unhinged relationship with the 10-year Treasury yield. Here's what happened in early 2026 that had everyone briefly losing their minds in a good way. Mortgage rates dipped below 6% for the first time in 3 years. 3 years. People who had been sitting on the sidelines, saving, waiting, hoping, they finally exhaled. Purchase mortgage applications hit a 3-year high in February. The market felt, for just a moment, like it was catching its breath. And then, Treasury yields started pushing back toward 4.2%, and just like that, poof, gone. The brief window of relief slammed shut like a screen door in a hurricane. This is the part of the story I need you to really sit with, because it matters for you personally. The 10-year Treasury yield is basically the invisible hand that controls mortgage rates, and right now that hand is pointing in a direction that is not great for buyers or sellers. Every time there's a whisper of recovery, yields spike, rates jump, and the whole momentum evaporates. It's like watching someone try to start a campfire in the rain. You get a spark, everyone gets excited, and then wet. Again. Go ahead and drop a comment below telling me where you're located and whether you're trying to buy, sell, or just holding on for dear life right now. Because I genuinely want to know what you all are experiencing out there in the real world, because the numbers tell one story, but your stories tell another. Okay, but here's where it gets genuinely spicy. And I mean spicy in the sense of, I read this and had to put my phone down for a second. Housing expert Melody Wright, someone who has been tracking this market seriously and carefully, has come out and said this situation could end up being worse than 2008. And I know, every few years someone says that and everyone rolls their eyes. But let me explain why this time the comparison is actually worth taking seriously instead of just dismissing as doom content. In 2008, the crash was largely driven by toxic mortgage products. People who genuinely could not afford their homes had been given loans anyway, and when the music stopped, the whole thing collapsed. But this time, the problem is almost the opposite. The people who can afford their homes are completely frozen in them because they locked in a 2.9% mortgage rate in 2021, and there is absolutely no universe in which they are giving that up to buy a new home at 6.5% or 7%. That's the rate lock-in effect, and it is acting like a vice grip on housing supply. So you've got sellers who can't move, you've got buyers who can't afford to enter, you've got inventory rising nearly 9% year over year, which sounds like good news until you realize it's rising because homes are sitting, not because people are selling. It's shadow inventory quietly building up in the background. That thing nobody talks about at parties. It's like Captain Planet, but for destroying your savings. Every factor combining, summoning a force that is bigger than any one of them alone. And here's the thing that really got me. According to alanlongbaum.substack.com/p/us-real-estate-in-2026-GFC, analysis based on the 18.6-year real estate cycle suggests 2026 is the cyclical peak for U.S. real estate, and that what follows could be a 35 to 45% nominal price decline playing out through 2030. Analysts are saying construction and banking will be hit hardest, with consumer spending and employment suffering as the negative wealth effect ripples outward. That's not some fringe Reddit theory. That's cycle-based macro analysis with receipts. And according to research from johnbrooks.substack.com/p/the-sunbelt-housing-meltdown-has, the Sunbelt, which was the hottest housing region in America just a few years ago, is now the epicenter of the first major cracks. In places like Jacksonville, the median household income is around $68,000, but the income you actually need to buy an average home there is approximately $120,000. That gap is not a market inefficiency, that's a structural impossibility. The math isn't mathing, and regular families are the ones absorbing the consequences. And hey, if you're not subscribed yet, now would genuinely be a great time, because we cover this kind of housing and economic information regularly, and the stuff coming up over the next few months, you're going to want to already be here for it. Now I want to take a second here because behind all of these numbers and charts and yield curves, there are real people. And if you are one of those people who stretched your budget in 2021 or 2022 because rates were historic and everyone said buy now or be priced out forever, I see you. That was not a dumb decision based on what you knew at the time. You made a rational choice with the information available. The fact that the market shifted this dramatically is not a reflection of your intelligence or your worth. It's a reflection of how genuinely volatile and unpredictable this economic environment has been. And whatever position you're in right now, whether you're underwater, frozen, or just anxious, you are not alone in that. All right, let's talk about what the stock market is doing, because sometimes Wall Street is actually useful as a leading indicator. You know, the one time it actually serves regular people by accidentally telling the truth. On March 2nd, 2026, D.R. Horton, one of the largest home builders in the country, saw its stock drop 2.9% in a single session. Sherwin-Williams, the paint and coatings company that is essentially a proxy for housing activity because people buy paint when they move, dropped 3.1%. Now, neither of those numbers is catastrophic on its own. But when you see home builders and housing-adjacent companies selling off at the same time that sales data is dropping and inventory is rising, that's not coincidence. That's the market whispering something that it doesn't quite want to say out loud yet. Because big institutional money doesn't panic. It repositions, quietly, before the headlines. And when you see home builder stocks getting hit, it means someone with a lot of money has already read the same data we're talking about right now and decided to get somewhere safer. Real talk, though. Comment below and tell me what you think about regular everyday Americans being the last ones to find out when the market turns. Do you think the information gets out fast enough for people to actually act on it? Because I have some thoughts, and I suspect you do too. So here is the question everyone keeps dancing around without quite saying directly. What does this mean for you? If you are a homeowner who has been thinking about selling, the signal here is not to panic, but it is absolutely to pay attention. The window of relative strength in pricing may be closing. Inventory rising 9% year over year means competition is increasing. Buyers have more options. That gives them leverage they didn't have 18 months ago. If you've been waiting for the perfect moment to list, the data suggests that moment is either right now or it starts getting harder. If you are a buyer who finally saw rates dip and felt hope in February, that hope was real, even if temporary. The strategy here is not to despair, but to be ready to move quickly when windows open, because 2026 appears to be operating in short cycles of opportunity that close fast. The spring buying season was supposed to be the market's saving grace this year, and it got complicated almost immediately. Staying informed and having your financing in order before those windows open is the move. If you are a renter watching all of this and wondering if you should even bother trying to enter the market, this is genuinely one of the most complicated moments to make that decision in a generation. Not impossible, but complicated. And you deserve real information to make it with, not just vibes. Here's where I land on all of this, and I want to be straight with you because that's kind of the whole point of why we do this. The 2026 housing signal isn't just one thing. It's not just rates. It's not just inventory. It's not just January's sales drop. It's all of it at the same time, pointing in the same direction. It's the convergence of the rate lock-in effect, affordability collapse, rising shadow inventory, Wall Street repositioning, Treasury yield pressure, and a 18.6-year real estate cycle that analysts say is approaching its peak, all arriving at the same moment. According to johnbrooks.substack.com/p/the-sunbelt-housing-meltdown-has, what we're witnessing is not seasonality, not a normal cyclical slowdown. It is the beginning of a massive structural shift that may not correct quickly and could last decades. This is 2008's annoying younger sibling, and it showed up with better data and worse timing. The good news, and there is good news, is that you are paying attention. You are here. You are asking questions and seeking real information, and that genuinely matters. The people who got hurt the most in 2008 weren't the ones who were watching closely. They were the ones who trusted that someone else had it handled. Don't be that person this time. Stay informed. Watch the Treasury yields. Watch inventory levels in your specific market. Watch home builder stocks as leading indicators. And if you're making a major housing decision in 2026, buy, sell, or hold, make it with eyes wide open, not with optimism borrowed from 18 months ago. And one last thing. Comment below and tell me, do you think we're heading towards something worse than 2008, or do you think this stabilizes? I want to hear your actual take because the comment section here is genuinely one of the best places on the internet for real conversation about this stuff, and your perspective matters more than you might think. If this video gave you something useful today, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this information reach more people who need it. And click another box on your screen to watch another video covering the real estate economy, because trust me, there is a lot more to unpack, and you're going to want to stay ahead of it.